Welcome back to our channel where we explore the most shocking scandals from reality television. Today we are diving into a story that shook the entire 90-Day Fiancé world. It is a story of love, betrayal, courtroom drama, and broken dreams. This is not just another breakup. This is the story of Jasmine Pineda, Gino Palazzolo, and Matt, the secret boyfriend who turned their lives upside down. Jasmine Pineda shocked everyone when she announced that she was pregnant. But the father was not her husband, Gino Palazzolo. The father was Matt. Matt had secretly been Jasmine's boyfriend for months. For the past 5 months, Jasmine had been involved in a deep romantic relationship with him, while still connected to Gino. Eventually, Jasmine told Gino the truth directly. She said, "I will not stay with you. I am carrying Matt's child, and I will marry only him." The situation quickly became worse. Gino's mother personally went to Jasmine's home to try to convince her not to leave her son. But the meeting ended badly. Jasmine became angry, behaved rudely toward Gino's mother, slapped her, and forced her to leave the house in humiliation. When Gino heard about this, he was completely devastated. He never imagined that the relationship he had invested so much in would end with such betrayal. Soon after, Gino decided to take legal action. He filed a lawsuit against Jasmine Pineda. In the lawsuit, he accused her of betrayal, financial fraud, and insulting his mother. Gino claimed that Jasmine had become pregnant with Matt's child while still legally married to him. Because of that, he argued that the law might consider him the legal father of the child. He also made another serious accusation. Gino said that Jasmine had taken $60,000 from him. When Gino demanded the money back, Jasmine strongly denied the accusation. She insisted that she had never taken any money from him. The case eventually reached the courtroom. During the trial, evidence and witness testimony were presented. After reviewing everything, the court ruled in Gino's favor. The court declared that Jasmine Pineda had indeed taken $60,000 from Gino and had also insulted his mother. Based on that verdict, Jasmine was sentenced to 5 months in prison. This story quickly became one of the most shocking scandals connected to the 90-Day Fiancé universe. In this deep dive, we follow every twist and turn of the story, from the passionate beginning of Jasmine and Gino's relationship to the betrayal that eventually placed Jasmine behind bars. It is a story filled with emotion, drama, and consequences. So imagine sitting down with popcorn, expecting reality TV drama, but instead watching a real-life story unfold with very real outcomes. By the end of this story, one question remains. Was Jasmine truly in love, or was everything part of a calculated plan? Before the scandal, before the betrayal, Jasmine and Gino were one of the most talked about couples on the show. Their relationship was intense, emotional, and often explosive. It was exactly the kind of drama that kept viewers watching every episode. Gino was a quiet and reserved man from Michigan. Jasmine was bold, passionate, and outspoken, a woman from Panama who never held back her feelings. They seemed completely different from each other, yet those differences created a powerful connection. Gino admired Jasmine's confidence, her energy, and her strong personality. Jasmine, on the other hand, was drawn to Gino's stability and the security he promised. Their relationship started with grand romantic gestures. Gino spent money on gifts, trips, and plans for their future together in the United States. Jasmine openly expressed her emotions and often declared her love in dramatic ways. To viewers, they looked like the perfect example of two very different people finding love. But behind the smiles and romantic moments, problems were already beginning. Jasmine's fiery temper sometimes clashed with Gino's calm personality. Their arguments often started over jealousy, money, or trust. Still, after every argument, they seemed to make up again. Their relationship followed a repeating pattern: love, fight, reconciliation. And that cycle kept viewers fascinated. People kept watching, wondering if the couple would eventually marry or completely fall apart before reaching the altar. For Gino, Jasmine meant everything. He invested not only his emotions, but also his money into the relationship. He believed that love required sacrifice, and he was willing to give Jasmine whatever she needed to feel happy and secure. But for Jasmine, the situation was more complicated. While she enjoyed the attention, the gifts, and the excitement, she also had doubts. She sometimes wondered whether Gino was truly the man she wanted to spend the rest of her life with, or perhaps she was searching for something more, something Gino could not give her. At that time, no one could predict the storm that was quietly forming. To the outside world, Jasmine and Gino still looked like a couple fighting for their love. But inside Jasmine's heart, a secret had already begun to grow. And that secret would soon destroy everything they had built. While cameras showed the dramatic relationship between Jasmine and Gino, another story was developing quietly behind the scenes. This story involved a man named Matt. Matt was not a stranger to Jasmine. He had been someone she trusted, a friend who listened to her when her relationship with Gino felt stressful and overwhelming. Where Gino was careful and reserved, Matt was bold and adventurous. He gave Jasmine the attention and excitement she often felt she was missing. Their communication started simply. They exchanged late-night messages. They talked on the phone. They laughed together when Jasmine felt lonely. But slowly, their friendship began to change. Over time, those conversations became deeper and more emotional. For 5 months, Jasmine lived a double life. During the day, she was Gino's fiancé, promising loyalty and a future together. But in secret, she was also Matt's lover. Their hidden relationship grew stronger with every moment they shared. The secrecy even made the relationship more exciting for Jasmine. With Matt, she felt a kind of excitement that she no longer felt with Gino. Matt gave her something different: spontaneity, freedom, and emotional intensity. He was not worried about money or appearances. He simply focused on the moment. Jasmine began to believe that this was the love she had truly been searching for. But secrets never stay hidden forever. Eventually, Jasmine discovered that she was pregnant, and the child was Matt's. At that moment, the secret could no longer be hidden. This was no longer just an affair. It was about a future, a family, and a decision that would destroy Gino's world. Inside her heart, Jasmine had already chosen Matt. She believed that her connection with him was stronger and more genuine. But she also knew that revealing the truth would create chaos. Gino's trust would shatter. His financial support would disappear. And his family would be deeply hurt. Still, Jasmine decided to tell the truth. For her, the secret relationship was no longer something to hide. It was her reality. And soon, she would reveal that reality to Gino, no matter what happened next. The moment finally came. For weeks, Jasmine had carried the heavy secret inside her. She had been torn between the life she had with Gino and the passionate relationship she had built with Matt. But now the pregnancy made everything impossible to hide. One quiet evening, Jasmine sat down with Gino. He had no idea what was about to happen. He looked tired but hopeful, believing they would somehow fix their problems. Jasmine looked at him calmly, but her voice was firm. She had already decided what she would say. Finally, she spoke. "Gino," she said, "I will not stay with you. I am carrying Matt's child, and I will marry only him." The room felt completely silent. Gino stared at her in shock. In that moment, his entire world collapsed. For a man who had invested so much, his love, his trust, and his money, the betrayal felt impossible to understand. At Gino's pride, his heart, everything he believed in, felt completely shattered. The betrayal was something he could never have imagined. For a moment, he blinked as if hoping he had misunderstood what Jasmine had just said. But when he looked at her again, her eyes showed no hesitation and no regret. What she said was not just a confession. It felt like a declaration of war. Jasmine was not asking for forgiveness. She was not trying to explain herself. She was clearly ending the relationship and openly choosing Matt without any doubt. For Gino, the pain was deeper than any argument they had ever had before. He had tolerated Jasmine's temper, her jealousy, and her constant demands. He believed that love sometimes meant enduring difficult moments. But this was different. His fiancée was pregnant with another man's child, and she was telling him directly that she was leaving him for that man. The news spread quickly. Friends, family members, and fans of 90 Day Fiancé were shocked. Many people could not believe what they were hearing. What surprised people the most was Jasmine's attitude. She did not try to hide what happened. She did not apologize. Instead, she stood firmly by her decision, even while Gino's heart was breaking in front of her. In that moment, their relationship truly ended. There would be no chance of reconciliation, no second opportunity to repair their love. The romantic story that many fans once followed had completely collapsed. Now it had turned into a scandal that people everywhere were talking about. But for Jasmine, this moment felt like freedom. She believed she was finally choosing her real happiness and her future with Matt. What she did not realize was that her decision would create consequences much bigger than she expected. Her choice would soon lead to serious conflict with Gino's family, intense public criticism, and eventually legal trouble. The pregnancy announcement was not only the end of their relationship, it was the beginning of a much larger battle. After hearing the truth, Gino's world felt completely destroyed. But what happened next made the situation even more intense. For Gino, the betrayal was not just about losing Jasmine. It was about losing his dignity, his trust, and the future he believed they were building together. He needed answers, and he wanted those answers directly from Jasmine. The confrontation happened in their living room, the same place where they had once shared laughter, plans, and dreams. Now the room felt heavy with tension. Gino's voice shook as he finally confronted her. "How could you do this to me?" he asked. "After everything I gave you, after everything we planned." His words were filled with pain and disbelief. But Jasmine did not back down. Her voice remained sharp and direct. "I told you, Gino. I don't want this life with you anymore," she said. "I am carrying Matt's child. That is the truth, and you cannot change it." The conversation quickly became painful. Gino reminded her of everything he had done for her. The money he had spent, the trust he had given, and the dreams they had once shared. But Jasmine's responses felt cold and dismissive. She accused him of being controlling. She said his careful and cautious personality made her feel trapped. She claimed he could not give her the passion she wanted. Every sentence felt like another painful wound. For Gino, the worst part was realizing that Jasmine had emotionally moved on long before she revealed the pregnancy. The argument soon became louder and more intense. Gino's sadness turned into anger. His voice grew louder as he demanded honesty and responsibility. Jasmine responded with the same intensity. Their argument turned into accusations and insults. Neighbors later said they could hear shouting coming from the house. Doors slammed loudly as emotions exploded. What was once a private relationship problem quickly became something that others could see and hear. It was no longer just a disagreement between two people. It was a dramatic breakup happening in full view. Finally, Jasmine delivered the final words that ended everything. "I don't care what you think, Gino," she said. "My future is with Matt. You need to accept that." For Gino, those words felt like the final blow. At that moment, he understood something painful. Jasmine was not only leaving him, she was acting as if their entire relationship meant nothing. He felt broken, humiliated, and completely lost. But that moment also planted a new idea in his mind. If Jasmine believed she could walk away without facing any consequences, she was mistaken. Gino decided he would fight back, not with emotions, but through the legal system. What began as a painful breakup was about to turn into a much larger battle. And that battle would involve families, money, reputations, and the law. When Gino's world collapsed after Jasmine's confession, there was one person who refused to stay silent: his mother. For years she had watched her son invest his heart, his time, and his money into a relationship that always seemed unstable. Now, hearing that Jasmine was pregnant with another man's child, she felt she had to step in. She went to Jasmine's home with determination and concern. For her, this was not only about the relationship. She wanted to protect her son from humiliation, heartbreak, and financial loss. She hoped that if she spoke to Jasmine calmly, she might convince her to reconsider her decision. At first, the conversation was calm. Gino's mother spoke gently. "Jasmine, please think about what you are doing," she said. "My son loves you. He has given you everything. Please don't throw it away because of a mistake." Her voice trembled with emotion. She was speaking as a mother who wanted to protect her child. But Jasmine was not moved by her words. Her expression became hard. "This is not a mistake. Jasmine replied firmly. I love Matt. I am carrying his child, and I will not stay with Gino no matter what you say. The discussion quickly became more tense. Gino's mother reminded Jasmine of the sacrifices Gino had made. She talked about the money he had spent and the loyalty he had shown. She begged Jasmine to think about the pain she was causing, but Jasmine's patience quickly disappeared. Her tone became angry and aggressive. She accused Gino's mother of interfering in her life. She said she was trying to control her decisions and refused to accept the truth. The argument became more intense. Suddenly, Jasmine lost control of her temper. In a shocking moment, she slapped Gino's mother across the face. The sound echoed through the room. Then Jasmine pushed her toward the door while shouting insults and angry words. Finally, she forced her out of the house in humiliation. For Gino's mother, the experience was deeply painful. She left the house in tears, feeling humiliated and heartbroken. When Gino heard what had happened, his pain turned into something even stronger. Being betrayed was already painful, but seeing his mother insulted and attacked was something he could not forgive. The woman he once loved had not only broken his heart, but had also dishonored his family. That moment changed everything for Gino. The situation was no longer just about love or betrayal. Now it was about pride, respect, and justice. From that moment on, Gino promised himself that Jasmine would face consequences for what she had done. What happened between Jasmine and Gino's mother was not just a private argument anymore. The story spread quickly. Neighbors talked about the shouting and the confrontation. Soon, everyone was discussing the shocking incident. Neighbors whispered about the confrontation, describing the sound of shouting that echoed through the house late into the evening. What began as a personal conflict between two people was now turning into something much larger. The story spread quickly through their circle of friends, and soon it reached fans and online communities who followed every update about their relationship. People were shocked. Some could not believe Jasmine had gone so far as to slap Gino's mother. Others argued that the entire situation showed how deeply broken the relationship had become long before the pregnancy announcement. Social media exploded with opinions, accusations, and heated debates. Every detail of the conflict was discussed, analyzed, and judged by thousands of strangers who felt invested in the drama. For Gino, however, the situation was not entertainment. It was his life falling apart in front of the world. He felt humiliated, betrayed, and angry. The woman he had once planned to marry had publicly declared she was carrying another man's child, rejected his love, and now had physically assaulted his mother. The pain he felt was mixed with a growing determination to fight back. In the days that followed, Gino withdrew from the chaos around him. Friends tried to comfort him, but the betrayal had cut too deep. He spent hours replaying the past in his mind, remembering the good moments he once believed defined their relationship. Now those memories felt like illusions. Every promise, every plan for the future, every sacrifice he had made seemed meaningless. At the same time, Jasmine appeared determined to move forward with her new life. She made it clear that she had no intention of returning to Gino or apologizing for her choices. She spoke openly about her relationship with Matt and insisted that she was finally choosing what made her happy. To her, the past with Gino was over and there was no reason to look back. But the public attention continued to grow. News about the confrontation between Jasmine and Gino's mother spread across online forums and gossip channels. Viewers who had once supported the couple were now divided. Some blamed Jasmine for being cruel and reckless. Others argued that Gino had ignored warning signs in the relationship for too long. The pressure of public opinion began to affect everyone involved. Gino's family felt embarrassed and angry. They believed Jasmine had disrespected not only Gino, but the entire family. For them, the slap was not just an argument that got out of control. It was an insult that could not simply be ignored. Behind the scenes, discussions began about what to do next. Gino's mother was deeply shaken by the incident. She had approached Jasmine hoping to calm the situation, but instead she had been humiliated and physically attacked. The experience left her feeling frightened and disrespected. When Gino heard the full story of what happened that day, his emotions hardened. The sadness that once dominated his thoughts slowly transformed into something else. He felt a strong need to defend his family and hold Jasmine responsible for her actions. Friends noticed the change in him. He was no longer pleading for understanding or hoping for reconciliation. Instead, he began asking questions about legal options and what could be done after an incident like the one involving his mother. What started as a painful breakup was now turning into a serious conflict that might involve lawyers and formal complaints. Meanwhile, Jasmine remained defiant. She insisted that the confrontation had been exaggerated and claimed that Gino's family was trying to paint her as the villain. According to her, the argument had become heated because she was tired of being pressured to stay in a relationship she no longer wanted. Still, the damage had already